be good. Okay, the stream is live. Okay, so I'm gonna first mute the tab that I have open. Okay. Hello everybody. Quiz is running a little bit late, so I'm gonna host. So you're gonna hear me, not it's an Owen stream for once, so that's gonna be kind of cool. So we just waiting until Leo puts up the results. This is July 1st. Primaries, which does include Georgia, Hawaii, Mississippi, North Carolina, I think, and Washington. So a couple primaries, and probably just closing up the Republican race, and I think that's mostly if I think the Republicans are gonna basically have more people thing, but we are supposed to get the results soon, so that's the thing. So we're just waiting for Leo to put up the results. So it might take a while. So we can talk about I can talk about the ways until like the results come, because we have no results coming out. And also we're just waiting for for it. And so what I had was my screen basically only can show the like primary thing, and I didn't put like a full window, so I can't really change it off like this because first I'm not the thing, and if I close this we probably wouldn't have the screen. So I think I can talk about like the primaries until like we have results. So that's what I'm gonna do to pass the time. So the Republican primary, Lewis is up. Lewis Amaya and Jeffrey Lee is the only people in the Republican race that is left. Lewis Amaya is in a big lead with 52% of the vote, 0.5. Jeffrey Lee is behind and having 33.4% of the vote. So a bit, I think it's like by 20. So that's something. So Joseph Burleson, he dropped out. He only got 7 delegates. Sky B dropped out in Super Tuesday and gave all of her delegates to Lewis Amaya. That's why Lewis is having a big heaven. And in Super Tuesday, the only 2 states that Lee won was Colorado and Vermont. Not even Jeffrey Lee's home state, North Carolina, and that went by, let's see. Okay, that's a landslide, but Jeffrey Lee did get 24 delegates, but most likely Lewis is the presumptive nominee, and I think everyone knows that. Democrats, they have still 4 candidates from Super Tuesday, so that's something. So Rainbow Dash is in the lead. It's a very close race. Very. Leoperiodot, the girl from Florida, she actually did better on Super Tuesday, and she won't drop out. If she loses Florida, I think she would drop out. I think she said that in campaigning. Teddy Roosevelt, he's at 2.5. He should drop out. He doesn't need to stay in the race. He basically loses. There's no pathway for Teddy to win. I think there's no possible pathway for Teddy to win. It's basically just a lost cause for his campaign. Presidential TBA for both, obviously, but I think we all know Lewis will be in the Republican. But James Adele, Texas, centrist, independent, kind of like Westport. And okay, so we just wait until results, which probably hoping it's not gonna take long, because I really can't switch out a sheet map because one, if I do stop the screen and put it on like a full window, um should just show the presidential and not show that because my thing updates like immediately. So we just gonna when like Leo's actually doing the results, I should just show the presidential so we don't have any sneak peeks because that's probably gonna be not good. But yeah, all the polls has been closed in July 1st. Okay, so we can't. I don't. We just waiting for Leo to say the result, like a state results, because my thing updates, so it's probably just gonna show the results happening. Please God, Chris comes soon. At this point, I'm not very well. Democrats are board is updated. Okay, so we have an update from the Democrats, which is okay. It's still updating. Let's just see the results because it's still updating a little about. Dang, this list is right. Okay, Leo wins Democrats a bold primary, by like, okay, it's 111. Well, 1.1. It was, you could say it's close, but Teddy Roosevelt got third place. Leo Tampton got fourth, and uncommitted got fourth. So Teddy Roosevelt did good, but wasn't good enough to win any delegates as kind of expected. It was by well not it wasn't as close because this was an open Democrats a bold party, so as expected, Leo would win. So kind of
I'm
expected,
here.
but I don't think 13 does anything. Oh, hi Chris. Thank
Hi,
God.
you might need to leave and come
Because I
back because your audio is bad.
oh okay.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Sorry, and I want to thank Owen for helping me out during this. He was the one who opened the live for you guys. I am going to pull it up on my screen here so you guys can see the updated map here. So let's take a look. Let's see what's been going on since everything. I hope you guys can see. You guys can see. Okay, perfect. So let's see what was updated. If Leo could catch me up and just tell me what was updated, that would be ideal if you could. So we have Virginia. So we can project that Democrats abroad, that Leo has one Democrat abroad with 44.4% to 33.3%, with only a one delegate difference. I don't think that that was interesting. Leo won. Who saw that coming? Well, honestly, whoever won Democratic blood wouldn't have made a difference. I think it was too small of a delegate count to really make a difference, if that makes any sense. I'm actually kind of shocked, like, that he was able to do as well as he did. I'm still waiting on Leo Owen to come back into the live chat, but it's honestly very interesting to see how it goes. I mean, like, it was. I honestly thought a lot of the green that was in Virginia, for example, was going to go to Leo, and he only managed to get 26.9%. But yet, Rainbow Dash got 46.2%, and somehow only managed to pick up a few counties. You would assume, like, by just looking at like Virginia, you would assume that this would indicate to us that okay, so Virginia is going to go to Leo, but if anything, Dash should have won more counties based on the margins here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. We
Okay, I
love you
hope
too. Hello, Owen. Welcome back.
yeah, well thanks for welcoming me again.
No, I want to thank you for helping me out when I was on my way home. So I do appreciate that. We do have everything on the screen right now.
Mm.
Yeah, so I just talked about like the Democratic broad and how like it wouldn't have been that big of a deal to have two different. Can you hear my dog in the background?
Only a little.
Okay. We were talking about like how the Democrats abroad didn't really make a difference who won either way because it wouldn't have affected it the way that it would have. Particularly because if you look at Democrat abroad, we have Leonard Kim at 44.4% to Rainbow Dash 33.3%, and that margin is too narrow to make any sort of delicate count difference. So if anything, it may be a tiebreaker here when it comes to the total amount tally, but I don't think it's gonna be. Now let's take a look at the GOP, and I haven't taken a look there yet. We have Lewis and Meyer definitely probably will clinch the nomination tonight. I think I don't know exactly how many are outstanding currently tonight, but if we were to go down to oh right, they don't have Democrat abroad. I just remembered it had the word Democrat in it. Well, we're talking about common sense. Apparently, I don't have it at the moment. Oh, and what is your prediction for Georgia? They want to know. Gavin wants to know what is your prediction. Do you have a prediction here?
I think I have a good prediction. Well, last time in Super Tuesday, I got some things correctly, only based off just guessing. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did in Super Tuesday, just guess, and hopefully I'm good, doing good. I want to think a little. Okay, so I have to move. Yeah, yes.
Honestly,
Okay.
I think like what you said. I think who's gonna win Georgia tonight. I honestly think it might be Leo, just because Leo could pull an upset, like a surprise. But if I were to make a safe bet, it's gonna be Dash because Dash did phenomenally well in the midterms in Georgia both times. She was able to run as an independent as Rainbow Dash, and was able to do quite well in Georgia. And because she was able to do quite well in Georgia as an independent, she was able to win the Senate seat, and I mean the governor's race in Georgia as an independent, sweeping the state of Georgia. Then when you look at the Senate race as well, where she ran as I think Chris Evans, and you look at the results there as well. I mean Steve Rogers, and you look in the Georgia Senate race as well. She ran as a Democrat, and she did phenomenally well in the seat. I think if I remember and recall correctly, she got like 70% of the vote in Georgia, and she got like a roughly around 52, 54% as an independent for the governorship. So if anything, I think Dash is the safe bet. But when it comes to a surprise upset, it would be Leo. But if anything, I definitely think the safe bet would be Dash. I would not be surprised tonight if Dash wins Georgia, but it would be certainly an upset if Dash loses Georgia. I think that would spell the end of the campaign in terms of momentum. I think Dash needs to win Georgia just to kind of keep that momentum going. Leo really needs to win Georgia to pull an upset and say, hey, listen, I still have the momentum going into this primary.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to say my prediction for Georgia.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's two things. One, Dash is gonna win. One of the reasons why is what you stated. But the second is, Dash does very well in the South. Like a lot of those Southern Democrats. If you actually see every single primary in the South, she does very good. Because and also Gavin, we can't refresh until Leo tells us. Okay,
Okay.
now we can.
Okay, now we can
Leo says
refresh.
it's updated. I think it finished my prediction.
Yeah, Dash won Georgia. So let's look at the polling percentages. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at all that green. So it was actually quite competitive. Dash still managed to pull out a win with 43.5% of the popular vote with 56 delegates. Illinois' Kim 39.1% with 50 delegates. And Eleanor Templeton right at 13%, winning 2 delegates out of the state of Georgia, with Teddy Roosevelt just at 4.4. So at least in this time, he's taking his campaign seriously in the state of Georgia and actually voting for once. I think it was very interesting how close the state of Georgia was. I think it would have been more of what do you call it? Kind of like a landslide kind of thing, more in the high 50s into the low 60s. That's kind of like where I expect the margin for Rainbow Dash to be. I definitely think when you look at the results here, a lot of the green, is certainly a shocker for the Lenars Kim campaign, because it really showcases that, hey, he can be competitive if he really wanted to. And I think he's competitive in the state of Georgia. He narrowed the margin below 50%. And I think that's exactly where he needs to be. Because when you look at the total percentages here, it's a less of a margin of less than 3% difference between Rainbow Dash and Lennar Kim. So if anything, I think this would be a really good indicator for both candidates going into this primary. But nonetheless, it was still a great win for Rainbow Dash, but not a blowout like we anticipated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
And
you
also,
hold. I'm gonna have you continue. I'm gonna be here in a second. I just have to talk to somebody. So Owen, you keep talking.
Okay. So Tempton, surprisingly, well, not really surprisingly, Tempton won delegates because one, it's the South, and obviously Tempton does well in the southern states, kind of like Arkansas, because Tempton does do good in like things and stuff. Oh, have you seen that? Well, see, Arvio's busy at the moment. You might have to ask that question maybe later. Because he has to talk to somebody. So I'm here for a little bit. Well, I'm always here, but you get the idea. Georgia, you could say it was competitive, but I think everyone expected Dash to win because one, it was the South, and it would kind of look weird if Leo won Georgia, kind of like that. But I should do more predictions though. I should do more predictions before every single race is over, and I can't even do one of my predictions. So I'm gonna just do the Republican prediction right quick because Washington for the Republicans. I think Lewis. At this point, Lee is just collapsing. I think I don't know who would still vote for Lee. Yeah, there's still people who will vote for him. But oh my god. But yeah, Gavin, Lewis is gonna sweep. Okay, you guys basically, Gavin, you candidates basically, Lewis is basically Trump kind of. If you be realistic, it's kind of like 2024 to be realistic. To be realistic. Yeah, Gavin, I could I think I can know that. But I'm gonna quickly do the Georgia one. Obviously, he's gonna go for Lewis. Like, to be honest, I don't know. You never know. You never know. You never know that Lee could, but like that's like a 5% chance to be correct. Oh, hi, Chris. I was just talking about the Republican Georgia primary. My prediction.
I'm back. Okay, so is it updated yet or not? Not yet.
No, Leo didn't say it yet.
Okay. So let's take a look. So we have Oliva. Have you seen the next roadblock update? No. What is the new roadblock update? Lewis won up. Gavin.
Well, we shouldn't listen to Gavin one because Gavin is literally the VP of so.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want people releasing data before we actually review it, because the me and you want to have an even, viewing. We want to be able to view how the results go in Georgia. We don't want to have it what's it called, kind of skewed in terms of opinion, because we already know who's going to win before we see it. So Louis and Maya won the state of Georgia with 70% of the popular vote. Jeffrey Lee 30%. And Louis and Maya won 45 delegates. Jeffrey Lee's 14. This is certainly a shocker, but it's not unsurprising. Let's take a look at the exit poll. What do you think so far, Owen? How do you feel about Louis and Maya's landslide Shillong that slapped Jeffrey Lee in the face. I don't know why I used that as an analogy here, but I guess I did, so run with it.
I think Lewis has been basically slapping the Lee's campaign since Super Tuesday, to be honest, because after Super Tuesday there was really nothing for Lee's campaign at this point. Because
Yeah, I don't
Lee
even think it's even remotely competitive. Let's take a look at the exit poll. I think it's updated. I'm not sure. Yes. Okay, updated now. Hold on. What the hell is going on with this thing? Okay. My apologies for a little bit of the what do you call it? Internet. So we have Jeffrey Lee wins 54% of the Democrat vote to Louis Maya's 46%. For the longest time, when you look at the campaign style for Jeffrey Lee, he attacked Democrats and called Louis Maya the Democrats like prop figure. But when it comes down and it's breaking down between the margins here, Jeffrey Lee is really the Democrats' prop figure when you look at who is voting for who when it comes to open primaries. When you come to the Republicans, they back overwhelmingly Louis Amaya to 62 to 38 for Louis Jeffrey Lee. When it comes to Libertarian, though, they're evenly split, but that's something that we don't really need to take into consideration too much because they are when it comes to the Libertarians, I believe personally, there's only a very small amount of Libertarians anyway, so their vote doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to being split evenly when it comes to open and semi primaries. I definitely think their vote will definitely matter more so when it comes to the general election because every vote counts and every vote matters. But when it comes to the primary, I don't think it matters as much as it does at the moment. When it comes to the independent and other, though, 60% of people who identify as independent vote consistently with Louis Amaya, although Jeffrey Lee is too extreme of a candidate, even though he marks himself as more centrist. I definitely think he does come off as very extreme, and that's why he only gets 40% of the independent vote. When it comes to women, Louis and Maya win 100%. For anybody who identifies himself as female, they are most likely going to be voting Louis and Maya. Nobody's voting Jeffrey Lee. I think it's because of his position on abortion, whereas Louis and Maya's position on abortion is a little bit more less extreme. And I definitely think that the comparison between the two cannot be overstated here. When it comes to the male vote, though, when it comes to Jeffrey Lee's position on abortion, he won 52% of that vote. Who the males 48% voting for Louis and Maya. It's almost practically even. So his abortion issue, I definitely think it's going to be hurting Jeffrey Lee's campaign. I also think the extreme right-wing agenda that he pushed forth and the constant attacking of people, even with Jimmy Carter as a VP, I think it is hurting Jeffrey Lee in the poll. And if I think it holds Jeffrey Lee more to the extreme, more like when people look at Jimmy Carter, I think they look at him as they see Marjorie Taylor Greene, like kind of crazy, a little bonkers, very angry all the time, stuff like that. I definitely think that definitely hurts the Jeffrey Lee campaign. When it comes to the 13 to 17 year old, people who identify as 13 to 17, 73% of them are voting for Louis and Maya, to 27 voting Jeffrey Lee. That's a big margin here. When it comes to those identifying themselves as 18 or older, though, 55% to 45 back Jeffrey Lee. So Jeffrey Lee does win majority of the 18 vote, but not by a whopping margin like what Louis and Maya did. And I definitely think that makes the difference here. What also makes the difference as well is LGBTQ vote, with the 84% of the vote going to Louis and Maya, but only 16% of those who identify themselves as the LGBT community, only 16% of them are going to Jeffrey Lee. I definitely think it's part of his stances, again, being extreme and being very far-framed and kind of being on the crazy side, so to speak, rather than talking policies more on the crazy side. I definitely think that also played a major role in who people vote for. And lastly, but not least, the heterosexual. If you identify yourself as heterosexual, you are more likely to vote Jeffrey Lee, but only by a very narrow margin, 52 to 48%. I definitely think the exit polling here is astonishing, and it definitely favors Louis and Maya. I think Louis and Maya is definitely going to be the nominee for the Republican. I think it's going to be sooner than later. I don't think the Republicans are going to have that much of a competition when it comes to picking out a candidate. I think this is one of their most boring primaries yet, particularly because it's just so lopsided for one candidate than the other. I honestly expect it to be more competitive. I definitely think if Dwight D. Eisenhower was still in the race and some of those who weren't disqualified were still in the race, I definitely think it would have been more closer. But I think because of the circumstances at stake here, tied to the Jeffrey Lee campaign with corruption and all that type of thing, I definitely think that really made it fall for Jeffrey Lee. What are your opinions on that, Owen?
Well, I think Lee's campaign was basically over after like Michigan, like after after a couple primaries, like the beginning primaries before Super Tuesday, it was always showing the trend for Lewis. But now after Super Tuesday, it's just gonna go every more Republican at this point because there's no chance of a vote for Lee doesn't really it's looking like it matters. So what's the point of voting for a person who's already down? Kind of like Teddy.
Right. So we have another state to call. I don't mean to interject here. We can now call Hawaii going for Rainbow Dash with 53.8%, with 12 delegates going to Rainbow Dash. Illinois Kim 30.8% with 7 delegates, and Eleanor Templeton at 15.4% with 3 delegates. But again, like I said, Teddy Roosevelt doesn't take his campaign seriously and did not even vote for himself, so he gets 0%. So I think this is definitely interesting. I definitely think Eleanor Templeton is definitely hurting Kim campaign. I wonder when how much of that is gonna hurt the Kim campaign more than anything. What do you think?
I think Templeton really is just really whole self because really whole campaign you can kind of say is really not serious. Well, it's kind of like obviously it's a 1v1 race really because if she there is enough that she can win, but hypothetically impossible. But remember, if she doesn't win Florida, which is most likely what's going to happen, she probably won't win Florida because she
Mm-hmm.
hasn't won a single state. And she said she will drop out immediately after Florida if she doesn't do well or doesn't even win. And no, she said she would drop out after Florida if she doesn't win the state. So like Templeton really, if most likely won't win her home state. So probably the most likeliness of happening is we will see her drop out very very soon. Well, not very very soon, just probably after July 7th primaries, which is I think way much more from this one. But yeah. We already know the Democrat one is called, and plus if you're talking about the GOP one, you shouldn't talk about that. But yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I'm back.
It's okay.
Did they call the Republican one yet or no?
Well, we should.
Exactly,
We
it did. It hit Jeffrey Lee right in the face. That's what happened when you're British.
I
Anyway,
just think. I just really think Lee is
no
dunzo.
GOP. Also, can I just can't spoil the result? Yeah, try not to spoil the result because me and Owen want to provide our analytical side to this and analyze the results and the data. So we want to make sure that we're giving it the best we can and being as honest upfront as possible.
Wait, Gavin's having a
Hi,
panic attack.
Danielle. What do you say?
I'm told. Hey, Daniel said it. Hey guys, it's Daniel. Sorry I'm late. Gavin Cannon kept on saying no, 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 no. And then Hey Daniel said, sorry, what's the problem? Go away now. Gavin saying.
Gavin, come on, stop pushing people away. Who's Daniel?
He could be a problem, I don't know. I never see Gavin like losing all caps and saying no, 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 go away. Oh, it's an inside joke.
Yeah, try to be careful with inside jokes because if that's actually not the person you think you're talking to, you could be pushing away people that you shouldn't be pushing away.
He is
Oh,
cancerous.
okay. I hope Rainbow Dash loses. That's what Leonard Kim said for the campaign. By all means, go ahead, have fun. Anyway, let's take a look at the results here. Let's talk about the presidential. Now that
Well,
we're seeing more of the results here, I'm starting to see that it's interesting because the more competitive a primary is, the likely indicator is going to be that they can't win the general. You know what I mean? When you look at all the past presidential and historical elections, the more competitive that it is, the less likely that Canada has a shot at becoming president. So, if anything, I think the Democratic nominee, no matter who it is, if they don't start becoming less competitive in the Democratic primary and push ahead, I think we're going to be ending up in a scenario where we're going to have a Republican president or even an independent president, depending on who is the nominee for the Republicans. But if anything, it's going to be Louis and Maya. So I think it very well could possibly be a scenario in which we're going to be looking at a Republican president because the Democratic primary is too competitive, whereas the Republican primary is not so competitive. Now, that's based off of a historical trend. Based on my beliefs and everything like that, and coming off of, just say, the 2024 presidential election result, I am assuming that based off of this margin here, that we're still going to have a Democratic president just based on how large the Electoral College margin was. I definitely think it could be a lot closer. I think the Democratic candidate is definitely going to underperform President Oliva by a much large margin. I don't even think they're going to be able to reach the popular vote margin of what to call it, of 67.1% to 32.9%. I don't think the Democratic candidate has it in them and able to make the margin competitive. I don't think they have that ability here. I think that the Democratic Party going to really have to look at strategy and whether or not they're going to be able to hold certain states that went blue last time and be able to defend territory, but not where they get underneath the 270 electoral votes that's needed. What is your opinion?
Well, I think I was kind of looking at the chat. I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. The chat is
Okay,
kind of
let's
creepy.
move on then.
Also, Leo said Hawaiian web updated
Hawaii
before.
updated? I didn't even see the comment.
It's been on 10:55 since 10:55. Just
Okay.
so much blood. You just have to
I just
scroll
want to
through.
let you know that oh, hold on, I'm in the wrong one. Oopsie. I just wanted to let you know that after this live hits 1 hour, we're done for the night.
Okay.
All right, because me and you are not staying up all hours doing this. Like if I wasn't busy tomorrow, maybe I'll do it, but not tonight. I'm not doing that. I'm not staying up to 5 hours after the video. Like I'm not doing another 6 hour live stream.
Yeah, I get it.
So you don't have to worry. So your dad won't get mad at you either. So you'll be okay. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. I think it's Hawaii, right? Yeah, so we can now make the official call here in the state of Hawaii that Louis and Maya has won Hawaii with 63.6% of the popular vote with 12 delegates, with Jeffrey Lee's 36.4% with 7 delegates. You want to know what this is starting to remind me of? It's like a repeat of 2024, in which, like, when you look at the data here, let's go. Actually, let's take a look at how Jeffrey Lee performed in Hawaii, and let's compare the results. Okay, so Mike Shepard won Hawaii with 50% of the popular vote, with Jeffrey Lee's only getting 21.9%, and it's only a difference of a margin, and he only increased the margin just by 16%, maybe even less. Isn't that interesting? How Jeffrey Lee underperforms expectation? He's not even able to make inroads nationally when it's a two-way race instead of a three-way race. Isn't that interesting? How bad he's underperforming?
Yeah. At this point, he is a Nikki Haley. Even after Super Tuesday, he should have realistically dropped out at the Super Tuesday because he has no pathway realistically. Because Lewis is the presumptive nominee at this point.
I agree. I think Lewis is the presumptive nominee. I think when you look at the results and you look at all the data, You know, he is the presumptive nominee. Let's take a look and see who won Mississippi and whether or not we think that Jeffrey Lee even has a shot this time to flip Mississippi. So in Mississippi, Jeffrey Lee only got an embarrassment of 3.4%.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win Mississippi. I don't even think he has the support there to win Mississippi.
Realistic. Leo said Mississippi's Dem updated.
Oh, it updated? Okay, let's take a look. So who do you think is winning Mississippi? I think if anything, it's going to be.
Dash.
I feel like it's going to be Leo. I feel like it's Leo not to be like, you know, partisan because I'm a VP, but like I feel like it's going to be Leo. Okay, no, it's not. Okay. I thought it was going to be like a weird upset where like me and you were going to be like sitting there shocked, but I should not be shocked. I don't know why I'm expecting
Well,
something.
it's the South, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Rainbow Dash at 52.2% with 23 delegates to Lennar's Kim, 26.1% with 11 electoral votes. To Teddy Rhodes, about 13% with 1 delegate. So I guess he wins another delegate tonight. With Eleanor Templeton at 8.4%, 8.7% reporting. I definitely think that this is a key indicator for how the Republican primary is going. But one thing can be clear tonight, I think that Rainbow Dash turnout is coming out in full force. And I think we can expect the other states to kind of go in favor of Rainbow Dash for the rest of the night. I think that Rainbow Dash strategy here is to not let them vote in regions where there's low delegate count and only make them vote in high delegate counts. What do you think Rainbow Dash strategy is?
I think really Dash strategy is not really focusing. I just think Dash knows most likely in southern states she will win because a lot of because she imported a lot of voters.
Yeah.
Like when the primaries happened, and most of them they was all saying like the Southern Democrats will rise again and all that stuff. They was probably not really given to, they really not caring, and they was just voting for their friend, obviously.
Yeah, I honestly feel like when you look at like the results and you look at Rainbow Dash and Leonard Kim is the owner, right? And none of the previous primaries in which he was the candidate that he reached above 30%. It's only recently until today, I think. Hold on, let's take a look. Yeah, only recently where he's at 39.1%. When you look at the past two presidential primaries in which he ran, the first time Leonard Kim ran, he only got 5% of the popular vote. When he ran again in 2024, and you look at the Dem primary results here, let's take a look here. He only got 1.7% of the vote in 2024. When you look at you look at 2028, he got 39.1%. That's a big difference from the two past presidential primaries. When you look at the results and everything like that, what do you think that means for the Leonard Kim campaign? Do you think that's the momentum that he needs? Maybe this time will not work out, but maybe if I keep it going and just keep running, eventually people are going to pick me. Do you think that might be the strategy here?
Chris, I'm about to say this. Leo said he won't win again after this. Like,
yeah, I know that. I'm
yeah,
aware.
so,
I'm aware of that strategy, but I'm just talking,
mm-hmm,
making conversation here.
mm-hmm. And Leo said Mississippi's Republicans
Yeah, I
updated.
saw it. So keep talking.
So basically, I think Leo's really strategy is thinking. Well, I think even Lee's strategy, those times a charm, and I think like when you won like 3 times in a row, you basically thinking if I don't win this in a third time and I don't win this,
We're going to interject you for 1 second. So
Okay.
Louisa Meyer wins the state of Mississippi with 59.1% with 37 delegates to Jeffrey Lee's 40.9% with 3 delegates reporting out of the state of Mississippi. I think it's very interesting to see how the result is kind of similarly identical to the Democratic one. Let's see the results here again. So it's 52.2%. Let's take a look at the Republicans here. and that is 59.1%. So it's not that close. It's a lot larger of a margin here between the Republicans. I definitely think that Jeffrey Lee is overperforming Nikki Haley in some aspects of the country. So yeah, the Republican primary is more competitive, but only in certain states where it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I definitely think that it is not shocking. Let's take a look and see how 2020 went for the Republicans for this specific new state. So for the Northern Mariana Caucus, definitely won that by a very narrow margin by less than yeah, he won it by less than 0.14% of the vote. Right? He won it less than a millifraction of a percentage, right? So we got
Mm-hmm.
36.14% to Mike Shepard 36.09%. That is a very slim margin. I definitely think we might see a scenario where Louis Amaya with when Mike Shepard voted and also when Skylar B. Bennett voted and is able to create a coalition in which that Jeffrey Lee may only get 36.14% and win every other voter. And then in that case, he wins Northern Mariana. I think we're going to be looking at a scenario tonight where Jeffrey Lee loses this core territory. What do you think?
I think really at this point, Lee has no states left to win at this point, realistically. By the more times we reach, and because this primary will probably end by July 7th after those primaries happen, and then it will be officially over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I
what do you
don't
think
know
that
if we're
means
gonna
for the
do a life with
Republican?
it.
What do you think that means for the Republican?
Well, they're gonna have quicker for campaigning for the presidential, so they have a head start than the
Yeah,
Democrats.
but do you think a lot of the Republicans would be happy with who is their nominee? Or you
Yes.
think a lot of those people who voted for Jeffrey Lee would defect from the party and would rather vote for James Adele in the general?
Well, one of the two things is Republicans really want to win at this point, so most likely the Republican side who actually votes for Lee will just go for Lewis, but the Democrat side will obviously vote for Leo or Dash.
Right. So we have the Northern Mariana primary for the Democrats here. Former president won that primary with 100% of the vote here in Northern Mariana. We don't have any more data to go off on that except the 100%. Who do you think is going to win Northern Mariana? I think Leo is going to win this one just because he seems to win small delegates rather than big ones.
Yeah, I believe it. It's gonna probably be a landslide, kind of like yours, because you guys are a little bit similar. Well, kind of, because Chris is the more beginner of the Democrat Party in like the Soval, and really like is like starting like a very good image for the Democrats. Well, Leo's kind of the owner and kind of is the vice president, so it's basically a third term for Chris, and people knows Chris, and also you being the vice president pick, a lot of people will probably vote for Leo too, and Leo probably has that for his favor.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that. But also, as well, I don't think that if Leo was to become the president, I don't think he will win another term. And I kept saying that in all my videos. If he was to win, I don't think he will win a second term. I think he will be a one-term president. I think he'll be one of the first one-term presidents in the server. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
he has the momentum to win a second term.
Yeah, I think any Democrat can easily. It will be an open primary if Leo wins for a second term.
Right. Let's take a look. Let's see if Dash strategy is what I say it is. Yeah. So we can say that clearly tonight. That Leo Lenore Kim has won Northern Mariana with 50% of the vote here, with Rainbow Dash 28.7%, with Eleanor Templeton at 14.3%, and Teddy Roosevelt with 7%. Lenore Kim wins 4 delegates to Rainbow Dash 2 delegates. You can definitely see here tonight that Rainbow Dash strategy is to win the big stage, ignore the little one. That's a campaign messaging that Lenore Kim campaign needs to campaign on is say, hey, listen, Rainbow Dash doesn't care about you. She doesn't go out and get your vote for every state. She only cares about you when it's convenient for the campaign. You know what I mean? That will rile up a lot of the support for the Lenore Kim campaign in the long run. If the Kim campaign was really serious about its campaign strategy here, it would be campaigning hard that the Rainbow Dash campaign is only taking certain states seriously while leaving out majority of the voters who aren't fortunate enough to have the delegate total, like the state of California, for example, they're being ignored. You know what I mean? That should be a campaign message in here that the Kim campaign should be, hopping on and saying, listen, look, I'm winning all you guys, but look at Rainbow Dash. He's not even competing in any of your two states. And I wonder why. Do you think that maybe he doesn't think your voice matters? Because you're not going to be voting for him in the presidential anyway because you're not a state. Like, these are strategies, these are things that talking points that the Kim campaign needs to talk about. What do you think?
I think you have valid points, and that is kind of the truth. And Leo should jump on and basically do that.
I think
Yeah.
also as well, I gotta also with the campaign strategy for the Kim campaign, but again, like I said, Kim is the only one that can control the campaign. I controlled my campaign in a very specific way in a specific fashion. He's controlling his campaign in a very specific fashion. I can make recommendations to him, doesn't mean he's going to adopt those recommendations, if that makes any sense. So, I find it really interesting how this is playing out, and I think this is a story that's being told time and time again. When you put out multiple sources of when you campaign consistently and you keep putting out the same messaging, the same campaign message time and time again, people get bored. They actually hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't want to see the message every day. They don't want to see human rights. That's not a campaign issue that is important for this election. Yeah, it was a campaign issue that was important for 2024, but that's when Israel and Palestine would really predominate in that election. In this election, I don't think it's all about human rights anymore, because the person who is talking about human rights, well, then you have to think to yourself, okay, but if you're campaigning on human rights, but you're the vice president, why are you not doing anything to solve the issues of human rights? That's an argument that could be made if just say Lenore Kim was running the Democratic primary and he was not the incumbent, but he is the incumbent. And so that messaging strategy here does not work. It falls on its head because it's not a message that resonates with voters because you are the establishment. You are the one who is in office. You're not. He campaigns as if he's on what to call it, the defense. I mean offense, right? But he's supposed to be playing defense, but he's not playing defense because his strategy is completely warped. He's not playing the right way that he's supposed to because he's sometimes forgetting campaigns as if he's not in office. I think that's hurting his campaign. What are your argument to that?
I think that is really true because people think Leo and you is the establishment because you're both incumbents. And it is kind of true, but Leo's more establishment than you.
Yeah, I'm
And
definitely not establishment by any means. I don't even represent anything of establishment. If anything, you know. But anyway.
yeah,
Oh, it's for the GOP. So let's see who's going to win. Oh, okay. I already accidentally ruined that. Okay. Oh, look at that margin. It's close. Wow. Okay. So Jeffrey Lee wins Northern Mariana with 50.17% of the vote, with 9 delegates to Louisa Myers 49.83% of the popular vote. That is crazy. Let's do the margin here. So 50.17 minus 49.83, right? That's a margin of less than he won the territory by quote me here, 0.34%. That's it. He only won it by 0.3%. That's all he won, Northern Mariana. Let's take a look at how he
was by
won
2
that
votes.
back in 2024. Hold on. I think this is going to be really interesting and important here. It's going to be interesting to see how close of a margin he won this in 2024. So we have 36. Hold on. 36 point, oops, hold on. 36.14 minus 36. He won this by 0.05% of the vote. So he increased the margin, but it made the difference because every vote counts. But the margin was extremely narrow, both in 2024 for Lee and also in 2028. I think it's very astonishing how close this territory was. What is your opinion?
Well, I think it's really because one is the island and also it's probably going to be close. Second is if you actually count the votes as actually realistically in Lee actually approved because if you can see in 2020 I mean 2024
You want to look at
wait,
2020? Let's look at GOP 2020. Let's take a look at that.
because I really don't know.
Okay, hold on. We got Virginia, Georgia, Hawaii, Northern Mariana. Okay, so we have Northern Mariana, which is Jeffrey Lee, VP, Donald Reagan, right? He won with 30.4% to Clark Kent, 23.9%, who was my vice president at the time that I won my first election in 2020. But nonetheless, this is the GOP primary here, and Donald Reagan only won 30.4%. And so, really, if you look at it, having Jimmy Carter on the ticket hurts Jeffrey Lee's campaign 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah, but I want to actually show. Can you show 2024?
2024, yeah, and where?
For no Macedonian thing for the Republicans. Okay, so, or if you actually see how close it is by the votes, if it was realistic, it would be by 1 vote win. And if you go in 2028, it's by 2 points. So he gained 1 vote than last time.
Yeah.
He won.
But also remember, 30 Republicans and Democrats. Republicans and Democrats were running and voting in the Republican and Democratic primary. In this election here in 2028, it was open, closed, and semi-primary. What's astonishing, though, is how Northern Mariana managed to stay similar to the margin of 2024 and 2028. I think that's very astonishing, despite the difference of Democrats and Republican and Independent voting in certain races where they're allowed and not allowed.
Yeah.
You know, I think that if Jeffrey Lee should have if Jeffrey Lee really wanted to win, he only would have been more competitive against Louis Amaya if, just say, for example, every state was open primary like it was in the past. Then I definitely think Jeffrey Lee would be way more competitive against Louis Amaya. But because it's not competitive, I think it's going to be a done deal for Jeffrey Lee. And Jeffrey Lee already spoke about how he's going to switch to the Democratic Party side. So that's the only way that he can stay competitive. Because if you look at the Republican GOP primary, if I was to run at the Republican GOP to say Daddy USA, I would win in a landslide. I think that's definitely true. I definitely think that I would be the Republican frontrunner almost automatically. Because it's based off of the idea for the GOP, it would have been based off the idea of popular vote, but a lot of states are winner take all. When you look at the Democrats primary, it's by proportional. So the difference is it's easy to win the Republican primary if you're very popular, and not trying to be cocky here, but I'm just looking at statistical data here. You know, Daddy USA was very popular when he ran as a Republican, right? So if Daddy USA was running in the Republican primary, he will sweep a lot of the states and win majority of the popular vote in a lot of those states. But assumption here, in air quotes, you don't really know what that would actually be. But just using that assumption based on previous data, we can make that determination. But if Daddy USA was running in the Democratic primary because it's proportional, he's not going to win every delegate the way he would have won it in the Republican. Do you agree or disagree on that?
I agree. Also, Gavin said we can't reach the amount tonight, but we can with Florida, Guam, and Arizona.
Yeah. Speaking of Florida, because Templeton is planning to drop out after Florida, right? Do you think
Yeah.
that Templeton even has a shot at winning Florida?
Yes, because a lot of people who would vote different candidates is voting for. It's kind of like how I would switch my vote based off what state, what kind of, or if it's like the home state, I would vote for them.
Interesting. I never actually done that before, and I actually kind of want to do that, but I find how interesting that really is. Kind of
Yeah,
see that, you
because
know
it's
what I
fun.
mean? What?
Because if it's fun, because if you have somebody from like New York and you voting, you should vote for like the person that's in that state, from that state.
That's true. That is true. Do you think that if Denard Kim was still in the campaign, do you think he's going to be able to win New York?
Yeah, because really, New York. I don't. I
Do you
think
think
it's
enough people?
close.
Do you
Huh?
think, honestly speaking, do you think that there'll be enough people who'll be willing to hold their noses and vote for Denard Kim in New York specifically, despite what their personal beliefs are about him? But they'll be willing to do that under the circumstances that that is his home state? Or do you think that with the Kim campaign lost their vote because of simply who is the candidate on the ticket?
Well, it's multiple things. Well, how I vote is probably what would happen is I would probably spin the wheel because one of the things is there's two people from New York, so I would spin the wheel from Leo to Teddy, who would get my vote
Right.
in like New York because they both from it. So I would just spin the wheel.
So
Not
let's
mix
take
it.
a look at Washington.
Okay.
So in 2024, Mike Shepard won Washington by a pretty narrow margin with only 3% difference. Jeffrey Lee only managed to win 30.6%. I think that my prediction based off of this, which I'm going to say that Jeffrey Lee only gets around 40% of the vote, and Louis Amaya wins 60% in Washington. What is your opinion on the Republican nominee, and I mean the Republican primary in the state of Washington? What do you think is going to win that state?
I think obviously Lewis is just at this point percentage, and really I think Lewis will probably get 60 or 50, 50 at worst, maybe 60 or 70 at best.
Right. And what do you think about the Dem primary? I think that Dash is going to win that state despite the progressive policies and standpoints that the Kim campaign possesses. I think that the Kim campaign constantly pushes forward human rights, and I don't think it resonates as well with progressive because there's no progressive policy in that. It is the same policy over and over and over again. It's like Biden economics continuously when the economy and people feel like the economy is not working for them, but is working against them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and
that's
also
how I feel. I feel like he's not going to win that state. He should win the state first by default, but he's not going to win the state. I don't think Laura Kim is going to win the state of Washington. What do you think?
I think really it's gonna be very terrible for Leo. I think Leo only wins at best, kind of like how Lee's gonna win like one county, from like 2024. That's probably gonna be the map with just Dash winning everything else. It's basically this map, except like Leo wins like the elite areas, and the West would just go into
Right here, yeah.
Dash's. So it's basically like the Republicans' primary from 2024, like
Yeah,
this map.
honestly, I agree with you. I agree with you. No,
Leo
100%.
inside
Take a look.
Washington.
Yeah, so Dash wins the state of Washington by a pretty nice margin based on the coloration here. Yeah, you were right. Yeah, he only wins one county. Rainbow Dash wins the state of Washington with 52.9%, with 57 delegates to Lenore Kim's 29.4% with 32 delegates, to Eleanor Templeton at 11.8% with 3 delegates. and Teddy Roosevelt at 5.9% with 0 delegates. I definitely think that, like we said, that the margin is almost identical to what me and you said. Like, Leonard Kemp should have won the state. This should have been an easy state for him to win. The fact that he's not winning progressive is a showing tale that he's not resonating with Democrats and Democratic voters from both caucuses when it comes to the establishment voter and with the progressive win. I don't think talking about human rights is going to be that winning strategy. Because I told him time and time again as president, and talking to him about as the campaign strategy here, you need to know the campaign and the issues at stake during this election. You know, people don't care about what is going on with human rights. Yes, people care, and I'm not saying they don't care. But what I'm saying is not on the top 10 issues anymore. It was the top 10 issues in 2024. But in 2028, people care about different issues. I think that this really goes to tell in the server as well, because people in the server, ideas and things that matter to them in the previous election doesn't matter to them again in the next election. You know what I mean? I think that if Leonard Kim ran in 2024, he would have won just on the basis of human rights. But I don't think he has the ability to win running on human rights. That it's not an issue that people are concerned about in this election. I think that his disconnect between the voters and the American people is so severe. I don't think he has any pathway to victory, nonetheless, any pathway to the presidency.
Yeah. Hey, can I make a prediction for
Go ahead.
my final prediction? So I'm gonna do the Republican because that's literally the only race left. I'm gonna say, because I predicted the Democrat one to be kind of like the 2024 results. Yeah. So that's gonna the 2024 results from last time. The map is gonna be the same thing. I'm predicting because Lee is basically a lost cause. Okay, that's what I think. Okay, I think Lewis will win. Maybe 70 or 80. I really don't know.
I want to ask you, speaking on
What?
your prediction here, do you think that Jeffrey Lee will overperform Kim's campaign ability in the state of Washington? Or do you think Jeffrey Lee is going to underperform Kim's campaign in Washington?
I'm gonna say oval perform than Leo's campaign to be realistic.
Why?
Because Leo's thing is a lot of people vote against him because of how strict he is. With Lee, some people just vote for with him, or some people vote against him because he's basically he ran 3 times like Leo, but he's obviously he thinks he could win again like Leo, but they both do bad. But I kind of think Willie is just gonna go for Lewis, and I think Willie, Lewis and Dash. You could say Lewis is not as competitive. Well, not it's the Republicans not as competitive than the Democrats,
Right.
basically. And
Okay. So let's take a look at the GOP. Okay. Let's see. So in the state of Washington, Lewis and Maya got 63.6% of the popular vote with 35 delegates. Jeffrey Lee, 36.4% with 8 delegates. The map is identical, literally identical. Because if you look at the map in the Democrat side here, and you look at Washington, he wins one county, and so does Jeffrey Lee, one county. Now, what do you think that means for the Lee campaign and the Kim campaign? Does that mean that if Jeffrey Lee is the Nikki Haley of the Republicans, does that also make Leonard Kim the Nikki Haley of the Democrats? Or do you think because he's VP, do you think that makes him more like Kamala Harris?
well, one of those Leo's not the Democrat or Kamala Harris. Well, not Nikki Haley, because one thing is Leo's more competitive than Lewis. Not Lewis. Lee. Again, confused. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that you're pulling a Joe Biden tonight.
A. Never say that again. But not Joe Biden.
I mean, you pulled a Joe Biden. I'm sorry, but you're biding your time, buddy.
Leo said I'm Harris at this point. Leo.
Yeah, you are. You're a Harris. I told you that. I mean, look at your disapproval rating. You are like a Kamala Harris. Like we cannot believe. Like you are the first Kamala Harris in the server. You know, I definitely think that what would have helped the the Leo campaign, is that if he wasn't VP, I think that that would have made a significant difference because he wouldn't represent the establishment wing of the party. You know what I mean? I definitely think that that definitely hurt him. Where is the data here? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at Leo's approval rating here.
It keeps on getting worse at the end of voting for the next election. It's probably going to be in at this point in the 60s or 70s at this point.
Yeah, honestly, absolutely. I don't think that he's going to have any momentum because right now, in the past, since June 12th, he's been at above 50% in terms of disapproval, and it's just increasing every time the vote is being tallied for approval, disapproval, and undecided. If this continues, I don't even know if there's any pathway forward for the presidency for Leonard Kim. However, if history has told us one thing about how life works in politics, the approval rating doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't always mean everything, but it is a good indicator because again, this is our first election in which the VP is disapproved. Besides Diego, but Diego only had one poll, so technically we can't consider him anyway. But you look at my approval rating at the same time that he was disapproved from June 12th to the 28th. I'm in the high 70s. Kim, on the other hand, though, well, that's a whole nother story. He's in a disapproval rating. He's in the high disapproval. So, what do you think that if you were to make the comparison between me and Leonard, how would you classify our personality and our political stances? Do you consider me a populist, a progressive, a centrist? Like, how do you, from your perspective as a voter, Owen, and everybody else who's listening, how do you view us and view
I
me?
believe you're just a moderate, because you have like policies from Republican and Democrat, and Leo is just at this point far right or left. I mean, far left or left, not far right. There's no Democrat candidates, but just far right yet. Lol.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. So let's take a look at the election data, then we'll dip for tonight. But we have here a matchup between Rainbow Dash, which is looking very likely. So this is our likeliest scenario here. We have an outcome where Rainbow Dash, in terms of predicted electoral college votes based on the popular vote margin here, is between 224 electoral votes to 349, to Lewis and Myers 189 to 311 electoral votes, with James Adele from 0 to 3 electoral votes. He'll be the first independent to win electoral votes in 2020. So that would be very important if the third party candidate is able to win only with 3 candidates on the ballot. That still remains to be true. This is the likeliest outcome here. And just say Leonard Kim is the Democratic nominee, we're not even going to consider Jeffrey Lee because Jeffrey Lee is far gone. He's not going to be the nominee. We're not even going to consider that possibility anymore. I think we should archive it. But so a matchup between Lewis and Maya versus Leonard Kim versus James Adele, we have a predicted electoral college value for Lewis and Maya of 326 electoral votes to a whopping 424 electoral votes, well above where I was in terms of electoral landslide vote. It'll be 424 to Leonard Kim, 114 to 209 electoral votes, to James Adele, 0 to 3 electoral votes. So either way, the independent party candidate is expected to do well, be able to snipe away some of the electoral colleges, but not enough to make a difference between Lewis and Myers or Rainbow Dash campaign. However, it does appear that Lewis and Myers is stronger against Kim, but is weaker against Rainbow Dash. What is your opinion on that? Do you agree or disagree? Or, like, what do you think about this polling data here?
Well, I think it's realistic, but I'm gonna say this. Um, for James Adele, I think James Adele could get more than 3 electoral votes.
That's what
To
I
be
think.
honest, against like Leo and Lewis, because lots of people from like Dash voters will vote for James, and Dash has a lot of her friends in the Soul that could boost James Adele, and like a lot of those people would just switch of to James Adele and then vote for James Adele, and that could happen. And I think 3 electoral votes is very, very, very not fair because pulling like 19%, I think like really realistically, independent needs to poll at least 40%, 45% to win the presidential election, to win
Right.
enough electoral votes. But see, the problem with that is we probably won't see that. One, because Leo and Lewis has to be the worst candidates of all time, and that would have to be like Leo versus
Jeffrey
B.
Lee.
No. Jeffrey Lee. It's still plausible.
It's possible, but almost impossible. It's almost at this point where he needs to win every other state, and he's not going to be able to. Because if you look at the electoral delegate, delegate count for the primary here, let's take a look. Where the hell is that? Okay, let's take a look at the Republican tally here. We have 941 delegates to Lewis and Meyer, with Jeffrey Lee 289 delegates, right? And you look at the map here. Hold on. Yeah, that's the margin here. And he needs 1,215 delegates to win outright. Lewis and Myers is almost there. Lewis and Myers is almost about to win. So really, Lewis and Meyer is the presumptive the Lewis and Meyer is the presumptive Republican nominee. You know what I mean? So if anything, Lewis and Meyer
Yeah.
had the greater chance of becoming a nominee. I think at this point, Jeffrey Lee needs to win every state, and he's not going to do so. So I think that we should archive the probability and forget about the possibility that Jeffrey Lee is even able to maintain or even be remotely competitive. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be the Republican nominee. I don't even think he even has a shot at becoming one, even in the future. This is an embarrassment for the campaign, for the Lee campaign. I think this is done. There's no way he's going to be able to turn back from this. This is an embarrassment nonetheless.
Yeah. And most likely on the July 7th primaries, I don't know if we're gonna do a live stream for that. A lot of people will like these live streams
For what
because the
one?
point of them. I don't know if we're gonna do a live stream for the July 7th primaries because a lot of people like these primary
Let
live
me see
streams.
when July 7th is. I don't know if a lot of people like it, because if people like it, we'll be having more interest. People be wanting to join me and you live, stuff like that. I don't know if people are interested. It is on a Sunday, so it might change. I'll see how people respond to being on the live stream, and if they want to join, because it is a Sunday. If nobody wants to join, then I probably won't do this again, just because that doesn't seem to make any
94%
sense.
of Wait, I can talk. I just want to talk a little bit. Based on
Go
the
ahead.
poll of keeping or stopped doing these primary results live, Keeping got 94% with 15 votes, while only one person, Jeffrey Lee, in that 6% saying no. So it's very, very popular on that poll. Lots of people want to keep it. It's just probably some people
But
are
how many
busy and
people
they don't do
actually
it.
watch it though? That's the thing. They could want it, doesn't mean they watch it or even want to participate. You know what I mean?
I think they watch it like when they're not busy. So like sometimes they busy. That's why we don't have a lot of people. Like Ronald's can't
Yeah, but he always used to talk to me and you at nighttime, but now he has a girlfriend, he doesn't talk to us anymore.
Oh no, he broke up with her.
Oh. Oh, but we gotta
He
get him back.
Well, yeah, but he can't talk in like his some parents' house. He has to go to his nana's house.
Oh, okay. So we have to wait for Nana. Okay, that makes fine. That's fine. We can try
So
to
that's
plan
another
it
thing.
ahead for him. Maybe since it's July 7th, maybe we can ask him if he can go to his Nana's house and then do it from there.
I don't know. Also, Leo said Diego joined the server, so we might
Okay.
see
So
see
we will
those.
see. Diego loved being on a live stream. At least I think he does, because he was on it before and he did really well. He was very quiet. He's very quiet, but I think he'll be really good for the server. I mean, for the live stream. So I definitely think I do want him in the live stream in the future.
Mhm.
But what I think is going to be really cool to see as well is who is going to become the Supreme Court justice. I think that's going to be interesting. When you look at here, 2029 to 2033, who's going to become the 47th president, really? Who's going to become the 47th? And you look at, excuse me, when you look at the Supreme Court, we have so many vacant. We have Brett Kavanaugh vacant, Jock Kidd vacant, John Roberts vacant, Donald Reagan vacant, Lenore Kim vacant. And if Lenore Kim loses the Democratic primary, then that seat stays to the Democrats. So that seat cannot be filled until a determination is made who is winning the Democratic primary. So we will have a Democratic seat if that stays true. But if it doesn't stay true, then it won't stay true. However, the incumbent president is going to have to make a tough choice, and it's going to have to start, talking to people and deciding what their policy is, their stance is. You're going to have to ask them questions. You're going to have to do a Supreme Court debate, a Supreme Court hearing, right? And you're going to have to talk to them about their policies, right? And whether or not he wants to nominate them to the Supreme Court. How do you think the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
in terms of political affiliation, is going to go? Because in 2020, the president had nominated Amy Coney Barrett, James Adele. Well, hold on, excuse me. The President Oliva did not nominate Amy Coney Barrett. Actually, that was Donald Trump's last nominee for the Supreme Court. The current president nominated Jock Kidd, James Adele, Donald Reagan, and Lenore Kim to the Supreme Court. Who do you think he's going to nominate, and how would that make or break the partisan breakdown in the Supreme Court?
I really don't know who would be on the Supreme Court more.
I mean, do you think it would be more of a conservative lean? Do you think it would be more of a liberal lean?
I think more conservative lean.
Do you think the president has so many vacancies that he could make it liberal if he really wanted to? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think he's going to keep conservative because he had nominated a Republican Supreme Court justice to the bench before?
Well, we've been seeing conservative control 3 times in a row. You can kind of see that conservatives have been kind of having control in the last 3 times in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, and basically, I think it's probably gonna keep on happening. It's probably gonna happen for a 4th time.
Okay. And so basically, just anybody who's watching and they don't know how the Supreme Court works, it's basically we're gonna kind of make it fun. We're still working at the logistics, but just say a candidate is nominated in the server, or somebody is nominated in the server and the city leaves the server, they automatically the seat becomes vacant. That's how vacancies work. Or if they run for president, their seat becomes vacant. Unless they lose the primary, then they can make the decision whether or not they want to keep the seat or they want to keep it vacant. So that's how that's going to go. It'll be really interesting. It's going to give a lot of anybody in the future, the ability to nominate Supreme Court justices to the bench. So that would be really interesting in terms of partisan control and partisan leans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Owen. Thank you all for being with us tonight. I have to go because it is a lot longer than I anticipated. But anyway, have a great night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.